Have you ever wondered why your joints ache more after what seemed like a harmless meal, a slice of pizza, a cold soda, maybe a little ice cream? When I ask my patients this question, most look at me in disbelief, until I show them the scans, inflammation lighting up their joints like a fire they didn't know they were feeding. As a doctor who spent years studying arthritis, I've seen one truth repeat itself: what we eat can quietly decide how much pain we live with tomorrow. Food can be medicine, but it can also be gasoline on the fire. I know how frustrating it is to follow every treatment, every pill, yet still wake up stiff and sore. The real enemy often hides on our plates: familiar comfort, foods that slowly erode joint tissue and fuel chronic inflammation. But here's the hopeful part: once you know the triggers, you can calm that fire, restore movement, and reclaim mornings that start without pain. In this video, I'll reveal 15 everyday foods that silently worsen arthritis and the simple choices that can help your joints heal naturally. Let's start by uncovering the first culprit most people never suspect. When I meet new patients, one of the first things I ask is simple: how many sugary drinks do you have each day? Usually there's a pause, then a quiet laugh. Just one soda, maybe two. That can't be a big deal, right? Doc, here's the truth: every 12-ounce can of soda floods your bloodstream with about 10 teaspoons of sugar. Within minutes, that sugar triggers a biochemical storm. Your blood glucose spikes, insulin surges, and inflammatory messengers called cytokines start attacking joint tissue like tiny sparks hitting dry leaves. A 2020 study in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition showed that people who drank sweetened beverages daily had significantly higher uric acid levels, one of the root sparks behind gout and arthritis pain. But it isn't just soda. Sweetened teas, flavoured coffees, energy drinks, they all carry the same hidden burden. Even natural fruit juices, the ones labelled 100% real, can pack the sugar of 4 donuts in a single glass. You wouldn't eat 4 donuts before breakfast, yet most people drink that much sugar without thinking twice. I've watched patients cut their daily soda habit and see swelling in their knees drop within weeks. It's like turning off a faucet that's been quietly flooding your joints for years. When you swap soda for water, infused with lemon or a few slices of cucumber, you don't just hydrate, you cool the internal fire that keeps your joints throbbing. Now here's where it gets tricky and why I warn people not to chase the diet alternative. Artificial sweeteners like aspartame can confuse the gut-brain axis, changing how your body handles hunger and inflammation. Some studies show they may even disrupt gut bacteria that help regulate immune balance. Think of it as trading one problem for another: fewer calories, but more chaos inside your cells. If there's one thing I've learned, it's this: when you take control of what you sip, you take control of how you move. Your drink choices set the tone for every step you take afterward. And if sugar can cause this much damage, imagine what happens when we mix it with refined starches that act like sugar once they hit your bloodstream. That's the next silent culprit most people never suspect, and it's probably sitting in your pantry right now. After cutting sugar, the next thing I tell my patients is this: watch the white stuff. White bread, white rice, instant noodles. These foods may look innocent, but inside your body they behave exactly like sugar. The moment that soft roll or steamy bowl of rice hits your digestive tract, enzymes break it down into glucose so quickly it's as if you just drank a soda in disguise. Your blood sugar spikes, insulin follows, and once again, inflammatory cytokines surge through your system. Over time, that roller coaster of highs and lows damages cartilage and joint membranes. The Journal of Nutrition 2017 found that diets heavy in refined grains were linked to higher levels of C-reactive protein, a key marker of systemic inflammation. In simple terms, the more white bread you eat, the louder your body's inflammation alarm rings. I often explain it like this: every slice of refined bread is like throwing a small match into a dry forest. One match won't burn the trees down, but repeat it 3 times a day for years, and you end up living inside the smoke. When people replace those fast carbs with fibre-rich whole grains, something remarkable happens. Their blood sugar evens out, their energy stabilizes, and that morning, stiffness that once felt permanent begins to fade. The fibre acts like a traffic cop, slowing glucose absorption and calming the internal chaos that triggers pain. In just 6 weeks, one of my patients, a retired teacher, swapped her daily sandwich bread for sprouted grain toast and saw her knee swelling drop by half. There's also the gut factor. Whole grains feed good bacteria that produce short-chain fatty acids, tiny anti-inflammatory molecules that help protect joint tissue. Refined carbs, on the other hand, starve those microbes and allow the harmful ones to take over, adding fuel to the inflammatory fire. So here's the takeaway I give everyone sitting in my exam room: if it's white, think twice. Choose colour, texture and fibre. The darker the bread, the better the movement. Because if refined grains can silently sabotage your joints, imagine what happens when you mix them with saturated fats that thicken your blood and stiffen your arteries. That's the next layer of trouble. We need to peel back the fatty favourites that taste amazing, but keep your joints screaming for relief. Whenever someone tells me they can't start their day without bacon, or can't imagine pizza night without pepperoni, I don't judge them. I get it. Food is comfort. But comfort can quietly become inflammation when it's soaked in the wrong kind of fat. Saturated fats and processed meats are like the slow rust of the human body. They thicken the bloodstream, stiffen cell membranes, and invite inflammatory messengers to linger longer than they should. A study published in Frontiers in Immunology found that people with diets high in saturated fats produced more inflammatory cytokines, those same chemical sparks that make arthritic joints throb and swell. I explain it this way to my patients: imagine your blood vessels as flexible garden hoses. When you pour in greasy fats day after day, they lose elasticity, pressure builds and circulation slows. Without good circulation, your joints are like dry hinges, every movement grinds. It's not just the fat, it's also the way these meats are processed. Bacon, pepperoni, sausage, they're loaded with sodium nitrates and compounds called AGEs, or advanced glycation end products. These molecules act like microscopic glue sticking to collagen and stiffening the very tissue that's meant to keep your joints smooth. It's why so many people feel older after a weekend of indulgence, because their cells literally are. The good news, your body forgives quickly when you feed it right. Replace that morning bacon with a few scrambled eggs cooked in olive oil, or try roasted chickpeas as a crunchy evening snack. One of my patients made that simple switch and told me it's the first time in years I woke up without my hands feeling like stone. And here's a truth worth remembering: fat isn't the enemy. The wrong fat is. Omega-3s from salmon, avocado, or even a spoonful of flaxseed oil can quiet inflammation like rain calming a wildfire. You don't have to give up pleasure, you just have to upgrade it. Still, even when patients cut back on bad fats, some keep struggling because of a hidden habit that seems harmless: frying. That golden crisp, so many love hides an invisible source of inflammation waiting to strike. Let's talk about how frying turns even healthy foods into trouble for your joints. I'll be honest with you, fried foods are one of the hardest habits to break, even for people who know better. There's something about that golden crunch that feels like reward, like comfort after a long day. But inside the body, that comfort does the exact opposite: it stirs chaos. Every time food hits a vat of oil heated beyond 350 degrees, the fat molecules break down and form trans fats, tiny structural rebels that wedge themselves into your cell membranes. Once they settle in, those cells lose flexibility, blood vessels tighten, and your immune system starts to panic. The result? More stiffness, more swelling, more mornings where bending your knees feels like bending steel. In the Journal of the American College of Cardiology, researchers showed that high trans fat diets trigger elevated cytokine levels and arterial inflammation. I've seen the same pattern again and again in real-life patients who eat fried food several times a week often describe their pain as deeper and longer, lasting even when everything else in their diet looks fine. And the problem isn't just what you fry, it's what you fry in. Many restaurants and home cooks rely on cheap vegetable oils like soybean corn or grapeseed oil, and these oils are high in omega-6 fatty acids, which, when not balanced by omega-3s, push your body toward chronic inflammation. It's like giving your immune system a megaphone and telling it to shout all day long. But there's an easy fix that still lets you enjoy texture and flavour. Try baking or air frying instead, methods that give you the same satisfying crisp with a fraction of the damage. Use avocado oil, olive oil, or even a small amount of coconut oil when you need higher heat. These oils stay more stable, protecting your cells instead of punishing them. One of my patients switched from deep frying to air frying her chicken wings. After 3 weeks, she told me her hands stopped tingling in the morning and her rings finally fit again. Sometimes healing isn't about doing less, it's about cooking smarter. And as much as fried foods ignite inflammation, there's one more sneaky culprit that hides in plain sight: the so-called sweet rewards we turn to after dinner, desserts that melt in your mouth but harden your joints from the inside out. Let's talk about dessert, because this one hits close to home. Everyone loves a little sweetness at the end of the day: a slice of cheesecake, a scoop of ice cream, maybe a cookie or two. But here's the hidden truth: sugar and certain dairy fats can quietly harden your joints from the inside out. When you mix sugar and saturated fat, your body produces what scientists call AGEs, advanced glycation end products. Think of them as microscopic glue that sticks to your collagen, the same protein that keeps your joints smooth and flexible. Once that glue sets, your tissues become stiff, your movement becomes slower, and pain finds the cracks to settle in. A 2020 Journal of Inflammation Research study showed that people consuming high amounts of refined sugar and saturated fat had much higher inflammatory markers. I've watched patients who cut their nightly dessert routine go from aching every morning to walking pain-free within a month. One man told me, "I thought it was my age catching up. Turns out it was my sweet tooth." He didn't quit dessert, he upgraded it. Greek yogurt with berries, dark chocolate squares, frozen banana slices with a drizzle of honey. Little changes that satisfy the craving but don't feed the fire. Ice cream is one of the biggest offenders. Its combination of refined sugar and dairy fat creates a perfect storm of inflammation and weight gain. Excess weight, even just 10 extra pounds, adds about 40 pounds of pressure on the knees with every step. That's like carrying a heavy backpack all day every day without realising it. Cheesecake, creamy pastries and even flavoured yogurts hide the same problem. Too much sugar, too much fat, not enough fibre or antioxidants to balance the load. The good news: you don't have to live without sweetness, you just need to redefine it. Choose fruits rich in vitamin C, like strawberries, oranges or kiwi, which actually support collagen repair. Pair them with a bit of protein or healthy fat, and you turn dessert from a threat into therapy. Food should never feel like punishment. It's meant to heal, to energize, to help you move through life without fear of the next flare-up. Because now that you know the 15 foods quietly fueling your inflammation, the real story begins not with restriction, but with transformation. And that's exactly what I want to leave you with. When I look back at every patient who's managed to ease their arthritis, one truth stands out: it was never just about cutting out the bad foods. It was about giving their bodies a chance to heal. Your joints are living tissue. They respond to every choice you make. Each time you trade soda for water, fried food for roasted vegetables, or sugary dessert for fruit, you're telling your body, I choose healing over habit. If you've made it this far, it means you care about your health, your strength, and your freedom to move without pain. And that matters. I want you to remember, arthritis doesn't mean the end of mobility. It's simply your body asking for balance. With the right foods, gentle exercise, and consistent care, your joints can grow stronger, your muscles can support you better, and every step can start to feel lighter again. So save this video and come back whenever you need. A reminder that progress is possible. Share it with someone who might need this knowledge today. And if you haven't already, hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss our next conversation about natural health, muscle strength, and living pain-free for years to come.